Okay, so you found me and the answer key to the third set of examples if you decided to go a little bit further with these quadratic in form equations. So let's start straight away. Let's get to number one. So on number one, I'm seeing these parentheses and it's like, oh my goodness, am I going to have to write this out twice, distribute, collect like terms and all that stuff? You could, but I'm telling you right now, that's the long way around. So here's what I'm noticing. What I'm noticing is the parentheses are exactly the same. So to me, they're the exact same variable. Treat them as one variable because they're in parentheses. Just keep them glued together and think of them as one variable. And I'm noticing this variable is to the power of 2, and this variable is to the power of 1, which means this is quadratic in nature. I know, right? Okay, so that means, what's my variable? What did I say to treat as the variable? X minus u. So that means I am going to let u equal x minus 3. I think I said it incorrectly before. What's the variable? X minus 3. Sorry. Okay, which means this parenthesis is now going to be replaced by u, and it'll be u to the power of 2. Excellent. Minus 6, what's the parenthesis? U to the power of 1, which we don't need to write. Oh my goodness, look how simple that ended up to be, because I can factor that very quickly. But go back and check what we did. We noticed that the parentheses were exactly the same, and this parenthesis was to the power of 2. This is to the power of 1, which means it was quadratic in nature. So the parentheses I'm substituting with a much simpler variable, called it u. And now I've got a quadratic that's very easy to factor. And I set each factor equal to 0. And when we solve, yay! That was quick, wasn't it? Done? Good. You're getting the hang of it. Since u equaled x minus 3, then x minus 3 equals 7, and x minus 3 equals negative 1. So how do I get the u by itself? Add 3. Excellent. So all I got to do in this problem is add 3 to both sides. Done. That was a whole lot quicker than writing twice, distributing, collecting like terms, and then you can do that. You'll get the same answers. But when you notice it's quadratic in nature, do you see how quickly it went? Wonderful. Okay, number 2 here. Tell me 1, 2, 3 terms equal to 0, possibly quadratic in nature. Take a look. What would be my variable? Good, the parentheses, because the parentheses are exactly the same. This is to the power of 2. That's to the power of 1. Definitely quadratic in nature. So let's substitute. Let u equal x plus 2. Yay! Yep. U to the power of 2 minus 3u, it's power of 1, minus 10 equals 0. Super easy to factor, right? Okay. So what do we get? The quantity of u minus 5 times the quantity of u plus 2. Then set each factor equal to 0. Solve. Yes? Making sense? Yeah, because we've done this factoring before in solving, right? Okay, done? You knew the answer was no, because since you let u equal x plus 2 in the beginning, that means that it's x plus 2 equaling 5, and it's x plus 2 equaling negative 2. To solve, minus 2 from both sides, so that's a 3. Minus 2 from both sides, so that's negative 4. Good? Making sense? You know, these problems look like a lot of work, But when you recognize they're quadratic in nature, they're not so bad. Okay, I've got 2 more examples coming your way. Okay, last 2 problems in solving quadratic equations in nature. Okay, so take a look at problem 3. What are you noticing? Equal to 0, good. 3 terms. Term 1, term 2, term 3, right? It looks like a lot going on, but pay very close attention to those parentheses. Tell me what you noticed about those parentheses. Good, they're exactly the same. This parenthesis and this parenthesis are exactly the same. And this parenthesis is to the power of 2. This parenthesis is to the power of 1. Is it quadratic in nature? Absolutely. So what's my variable? X squared minus 1. Good, excellent. So we are going to make a substitution, and we're going to let the variable u be equal to the parentheses, x squared minus 1. Great, good job. Okay, so tell me what this looks like. Yeah, u to the power of 2 minus 11u plus 24 equals 0. A much nicer looking quadratic, right? One that you probably already have factored as I'm talking. So u minus 8 and the quantity u minus 3 equals 0. You're right, set each factor, because these are factors, equal to 0. Solve, you get u equals 8 and u equals 3. Excellent. Yeah, you know my next question, don't you? Okay, if you know my next question, then what's the answer? Yeah, we're not done. Why? Because since u equaled x squared minus 1, then it's actually x squared minus 1 equaling 8, and it's x squared minus 1 equaling 3, right? Okay, let's solve this one. What are you going to do first? Add 1 to both sides. And then what? Good, square root it. How many answers? 2, because the square means you're supposed to get 2 answers. So you end up with x equaling negative 3 and positive 3. Well done. This one, add 1 to both sides. Then, square root, how many answers? 2, which means x equals a negative 2 and a positive 2. Good job, you guys. Excellent. Here's a suggestion. If you haven't done this problem yet, pause the video and do this problem on your own. Then come back and see if my answers agree with yours. Okay, so you must have already done it because you paused the video. Here we are. All right, look at your paper. See if we're agreeing. Operator error. Okay, now pause the video and see if you agree with what I get at the end. Okay, so here's what I'm noticing. I'm noticing this parenthesis and this parenthesis are exactly the same. This is my first term, second term, third term, equal to 0. First parenthesis is to the power of 2. Second parenthesis is to the power of 1, which means this is quadratic in nature. So I'm going to let the variable u be equal to q squared plus 4. Do we agree so far? 2 of us good? All right, so that means it's u squared plus 3u minus 4 equals 0. Did you get it? Okay, I bet you probably already have it factored. Hold on, let me catch up. This is what mine factored to. Same? Okay. And then each factor is set equal to 0. And solving. Got it. I hear you. You're already answering the question. We're not done. Since u equaled q squared plus 4, then q squared plus 4 equals negative 4, and q squared plus 4 equals 1. Yeah, q squared is going to equal 0. Whoops, no, not 0. I'm sorry. My goof. Negative 8. Oh dear, see, this is why sometimes it's a really good idea to write this little step. My brain wanted it to be 0. Is that going to be a real solution? No, it's not. So let me look at this one a second. Q squared equals -3. That one's not going to be a real solution either, right? So here's the deal. If the instructions say give real solutions only, well, you're done. This problem has no real solutions. But if they do want imaginaries, that means you're going to have to square root both sides, and you're going to have to remember how to take the square root first off of 8. That's 2 root 2. And you're going to get an I in there, right? And because it's a square, you get 2 answers, a plus and minus. And this one, plus and minus, an I pops out, and it's the square root of 3. So this one has imaginary answers. If they don't want imaginary answers, then there's no solution to this problem. But it's still a good problem for you to have at least worked with so you could actually see what the substitution was going to be and that this is definitely a quadratic in nature. Good? Okay, so hopefully these videos made sense to you and you have a better handle on equations that are quadratic in nature. Go back, review as needed, have fun, and I'll catch you on the flip side.